Greetings, Star Trek Fleet Commanders. I am the Angry Rhino. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. So a few videos ago I did a video. Yeah, that's a way to start it off being redundant. Several videos ago I talked about the Armada Quick Start and how to use it and when it might become available. Well, that spawned a few comments in there about the cost of the Armada Quick Start, which somebody said was a lot cheaper than what I thought it was. I thought it was like $25,000. Somebody's like, yeah, it's like $11,000. Like, oh, my bad. But that kind of provoked a thought in my brain. Well, currency, and where do you spend the Section 31 credits? That is what they call them, right? Yeah, Section 31 credits. And do you prioritize one thing over another? Like, say, specifically, some of these favors that directly affect you in wave combat, or let's say the Armada Quick Start. So, kind of thought, I'll do my little prioritization kind of dealio video with these favors. Hopefully, it go a little quicker than, what did I do the last one? The X-Borg one. That one kind of took a long time. Or a lot longer than I really wanted to. But I do kind of tend to harp on things like I'm doing now. So let's get into it. And like I usually do, I start with the worst one and gradually work myself up towards the one I think is the best. To a certain extent, that is in hopes that I will start off somewhat fast and talking less about some of the worst ones and then spend more time talking about some of the better ones. And you could probably tell by now which one I like the best. Yes, I know Armada Quick Start, I do have max, but it was only one. It's probably the one I have the highest completion rate on. But as far as the regular favors, go with what number 7 will be, and I'm going to go with the mitigation one. A few reasons why I don't like it. One reason is, especially to start off with, first few levels, it's just not really providing a bonus to you. Even at level 4, 200%, it's not really that much because there's so many other researchers and officers mainly that are affecting this. So what do you really need this for? In my opinion, you really don't. Even at level 10, it's 500%, which is kind of nice, but at the same time, I did just say level 10. You see the whole one, 5 levels. The crit chance one, 5 levels. Crit damage one, 5 levels. Isolytic damage one, 5 levels. Impulse speed one, 3 levels. Armada quick start, 1 level. You got this one with 10. Nope, that's the worst one. I would say I don't even know that it's even worth your currency at all. Maybe an end game. Number 6, I'm going to go with the Impulse one. I guess maybe, should I use the names of these? Mitigation one is Operation Athena. On to number 6, Operation Yo-Yo Dine. And I know people were thinking, impulse speed is very useful in waves. Yes, it can be very useful. But if you have 5 players in with 2 ships each, 10 ships, you shouldn't really need the speed if you can kill the targets. So, does the speed really help you? For a lot of you, you're lower levels. You need to be focusing on killing the actual hostiles instead of actually going and chasing them down. You got to put yourself, you don't really got to do anything, but you can overcome the speed by putting yourself in position. So therefore, at a certain point, the speed isn't really useful to you. It's more of a higher level mechanic. So the bigger ships, can save you, I guess, or support you. Not that you're not supporting them. Taking care of some of these hostiles, even some like the big faction ones. Usually there's a few in there that even if like, I'm a low level, I can't take them. Well, there's 248s are there in the back. Go kill them. You can probably kill them. Or chase down the survey ships for me. And to a certain extent, if that is your detail, your job or your task, put a speed crew on. If you can't kill some of these hostiles past wave 6, put a speed crew on. Jump in there with some of these big dogs and chase down the survey ships for them. You don't need this favor. Is it useful? Yes. But it's got to have a lower priority, in my opinion. All right. And for number, what am I on? 5. I'm going to go with Operation Hephaestus. Assuming I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, that's hull health. Wow, Rhino, you value the hull health that low? Yes, for multiple reasons. There are a lot of researches now that increase your hull health. A few 100%. Not doing that much for you. I mean, you do see that I am at level 2 and I have an extra 300%, which is kind of a lot. But at the same time, there are other factors. There are other researches get you your hull health. Artifacts, buildings, and whatever. I can't remember all the dumb things. I think some of the other favors are worth it more. Partly because there are, I think, less researches for them, and because I think they're better. All right, so now we're at number 4. I think this is where I'm going to place the Armada Quick Start. That's the 4th in the priority list. And I think, off the top of my head, can't remember who said it, but I think they said it very well. It's not, the Armada Quick Start isn't a necessity, but it is very handy. It does come in very handy. So, well, it's not something that you really need, and you should be getting it right now. It's got to be on your list somewhere because it's very useful. All right, let's come to number 3, and I'm going to go with Operation Zenith, and that's the crit damage. Part of reason why, and I'm sure you know which ones are left, and yes, they're all attack. I did contemplate maybe switching this one in the hull, but at the same time, crit damage is just so good. 100% extra crit damage. That's when you have it all the way leveled up. Extremely useful. And when you combine that with some of the other things, the other 2 attack favors, it's even better. But part of the reason why it's 3rd and not higher than 3rd is because, well, you kind of need a critical hit first. If you don't get a critical hit, then what does it matter what your crit damage is? It doesn't. All right, so Operation, what was that? Zenith was the critical damage. That was number 3. So number 2, now not crit chance quite yet. You could tell that was probably number 1. Number 2 is the Isolytic Damage one, Operation Soltice. You've heard me say a lot, probably over the past few months, about Isolytic Cascaders. New data. What the hell is that? Janeway. Very good officers, especially because of how they interact with your Isolytic damage. It doesn't just, add that 30% I'm getting from data to what I'm getting here for my Isolytic damage, but it does add them, and then it multiplies the 30% times whatever percent this is, and then adds that answer to the equation on how much damage I'm kicking out. And the hostiles, at least as of yet, the hostiles are not defending or mitigating Isolytic damage the way they do with the normal damage. Now in PvP, yeah, there's a little bit more Isolytic defense there for you, but the hostiles, they're not mitigating or reducing your Isolytic damage, at least thus far. Therefore, increasing your Isolytic damage does get you a lot more benefit than increasing your regular damage, because your regular damage gets heavily mitigated. Isolytic damage doesn't get heavily mitigated. It does get mitigated. Will get absorbed by your shields a little bit, but even at this point, it's not mitigated at all. with the hostiles. All your isolytic damage goes right to either the shields or the hull. With most hostiles, I want to say maybe like Texas hostiles or some of these formation armadas do have a little bit of isolytic defense. Actually, can't remember. Different subject for a different day. Get a lot more damage because some of these things stack on top of each other. Critical damage and then isolytic damage. So when you take a look at what my number 1 is, and yes, I'm at level 4. That is my highest completion rate, 80%, excluding 1 level for Armada Quick Start. Operation Ephemeris. I don't know. Not good at the Greek alphabet or whatever language that is supposed to be. Probably need to go back to my public school and learn more. Crit chance is what I value the most of these favors. You get a critical hit, your critical damage is multiplied in there to further increase that. And it's not, what's the word? It's about where it factors in the equation. All your damage kind of gets, boosts a little bit on the base. And with them all inside that equation, the number that comes out isn't that high, but then you get a critical hit, right? You get 500 critical damage, especially maybe with one of these favors, and it's literally 5 times your normal damage. Well, what happens to your isolytic damage now? That's after your critical damage is factored in. So it doesn't calculate what your isolytic damage is until after your critical damage is factored. So the higher you can boost your critical damage, guess what? The higher your isolytic damage is going to be boosted. Now, yes, that may seem like I should be more in favor of a critical damage or isolytic damage favor here, but you got to get the critical hit first. You got to put the cart before the horse. You don't want to... No, I said that backwards. You want to put the horse before the cart instead of putting the cart before the horse. Like, I got to learn to say it right too, don't I? If I want to use some of these phrases. You can't really value a critical damage favor or an isolytic damage favor before the critical chance favor. Because again, put the horse first, then you put the cart. Want to get that critical hit first. Then you can start stacking on some of these more critical damages and more isolytic damages for even more damage. The quicker you damage the hostile, the more it's going to go away. And to a certain extent, I know I mentioned New Data and Janeway. Well, it's only really those two. I mean, New Picard, but he's not, I don't think his ability's that good. So what do you do with the rest of your crew slots? Well, that's going to be your survivability. It's probably the best place for them, or maybe even an impulse speed. Like, for instance, I run Janeway, Moreau, Curon on my Sompack. My Sompack has a ship ability of decreasing the piercing of the hostile, kind of like Moreau's ability. So I can get my mitigation there with an officer and a ship ability, leaving Janeway as captain, Curon on the side for more speed. So I don't need more speed because I got Curon. I don't really need more survivability because I got max mitigation already. And I got Janeway in the captain's seat because shield absorption, like I like to say, not shield mitigation, but shield absorption, is the same thing. It is my words. Again, there's the survivability. So what do I need? You need the damage. And especially if you want to put Hugh on one ship, what do you put on the other ship? Well, you get a favor like this. That adds you 20% to your critical chance. You should be having about a 20% critical chance on your hostiles as it is. Adding this favor kicks it up a notch. About half your shots be a critical hit now. That's good. So you got your survivability that way. With the cruise, get some of these damage favors. I think there's more value here because I think some of the survivability things have better sourcing elsewhere. Critical chance, number 1 favor for me. Isolytic damage, number 2 favor for me. The critical damage was the number 3 favor for me. Armada Quick Start, I did put it 4. It's a very useful tool. What was number 5? Number 5 was the hull health. Number 6 was the impulse speed. And last and least was the mitigation favor. And wrapping that up there. Hopefully in a neat, nice little bow for you. Comment below. What did you think of my list and my preference here? You agree? What are you having trouble with in the waves? Are you having trouble surviving, or do you think you're having more trouble with the attack part of the battle? Killing the hostile, doing enough damage so that hostile goes away. And you know what? I totally forgot what I was going to ask. It doesn't matter. It's time for me to go. Be sure to like and subscribe. I am the Angry Rhino. Shields up, Commanders.